Basically, Thorne Colliery, when that opened, the village of Moor Ends, that used to be just a few farms dotted about, a whole village were built to incorporate that. We do know that people as far as Durham actually walked to Thorne to be employed down at Thorne Colliery.
What was it like working in the mines?
Personally, I used to love it. I did, honestly. The atmosphere were different again. It was dirty and what have you like, but I used to like it, yeah. You know. But when strike come, that spoilt it all. The atmosphere you could cut through with a knife, you know what I mean? But during the pit strike, our lass worked on school meals, you know, part-time. You know, miners didn't get nothing, there's, you know, to live on. But the kids, we had 2 kids, and our lass were working. But her money was £31, I'll tell you what it was, £31. And when she tried to claim from Social Security, it was £31 and 20 pence or something like that, so we didn't bother, you know what I mean? But that's what we were living on. I mean, women at school, at our lass's school, used to fetch bits and pieces, bag of taters, put some dog food outside or all like that.
I went to the Fairbrothers lace factory and I made ribbon, and that was in the back of the factory. The front part they made laces, and in the back they made all different ribbons, and one of the looms was that they made St Michael's labels for Marks and Spencer's. When I was 15, I started at 7:30 in the morning while 4:30. And then when I was 16, I asked Mr Eichler, he was Czechoslovakian, and he was our boss. And his daughter, Bridget, she worked with us as well. And I said, would I be able to go on piecework, because I'm 16? So he said, yes, when I get you 6 looms. And my first wage was £2.14 at 15. When I went on piecework at 16, it was £14. So that were good money in them days.
I worked at a shop when I first left school. Then I went to the wool mill, and when I first started you had to learn all these different knots, slip knot, back-to-back knot. And it went all in the garment. We started it off from what they call drawing. It's just like cotton wool. Then it goes through different processes, you know, from spinning to weaving to twisting and all that. So I used to be on a twisting machine, and you had bobbins like that, wool bobbins, and then you'd have one at bottom and you used to tie it round and let it all wool run onto this bobbin, and then somebody else would get that. But we used to work, it used to be a German firm, and they used to make car seat covers, you know, all different, and carpets and all that we made. We didn't make clothes or anything like that.
I worked at Thorne chicken factory. We'd weigh them. You'd have to, and they'd be coming down the belt fast as anything. You have to weigh them, get the bags, and if you run out of bags, you're shouting, bags! And people's going, get your things off, and they're getting piled up. We've got to pile up, help! And it used to be chaos sometimes. But we made it all fun, and the music's blasting, and everyone's singing away, and pack it in. There's the giblets everywhere, and yeah, it's funny. We're good.
Left school at 15, one Friday, and started work on the Monday. I was there for a year, but money, I used to fetch £2.19 and 9p home. You had to wait while somebody left to go on looms, and didn't leave very often because they were on good money. So I left there and went to AI then. So it was a big jump from £2.19 and 9, used to get £5, 5 shillings there, which were a lot of money then, you know.
And what were you doing there?
At least at AI. I started off on like putting steel things into what made threads on end, machine shop, but I didn't like that. I had like a rash up my arm off oil and water. So then I went on to main assembly to build it where they were building motors up and that. I enjoyed that, it was good.
And did you stay
Good
there
money.
long?
Not long, about a year, and then I got married and That were it then.
We used to tater pick, pea picking, mostly tater picking, carrots, sprouts in winter. Yeah.
And where was that? Where did you get? Was that one of the local fields around here then?
Yeah, we were an Hatfield farmer mostly. Lived in Hatfield. And my husband worked on coal. He was driving coal lorry, delivering coal. He used to work down pit, and then he left. Then he went back again, then he come back again. And then he ended up working on coal lorries, delivering coal. So then I used to still work on land. So I liked working, you know, I liked it, so.
Being out in the fresh air.
Yeah, you don't ail, I never ailed a thing. You know, come home. Yeah, it did. Come home, had a bath and you felt great. Not everybody's cup of tea like, is it, working on land, but most of them did years ago. A lot of women did.
I started off with the sticks, top quality sticks. Surprised me, it was spread like lightning all over the world. Yeah, I think 50 of the top drummers of the world played my stuff.
Well, I think one that sticks out in my mind, when he came back, he'd been to London for the weekend. He'd actually taken Phil Collins of Genesis at that time, a new drum kit, and he took it down for him. And Phil said, oh, you know, you're stopping tonight, Jerry. He said, come to the concert, come to the gig or whatever they call them. And he said, I'll get your seat in the wings. So they put him a chair in the wings, and you know, and at the point in which Peter Gabriel, I think was the name, that he jumped off a ladder or something, and he must be on some sort of very strong elastic, because he sort of bounced up and down in the air, and Jerry thought, oh, this is a bit, didn't like it. So he disappeared from the wings, popped up the road and had a Chinese meal, came back in time for the end of the show, and Phil came off and said, did you like that, Jerry? Jerry said, wonderful, Phil. And then Phil invited him out for another meal, so which he found great difficulty in eating.
Then one Friday night, police rang me up and said the factory's on fire. I was devastated, because I mean the fact is that the stick turning lathes were all designed by me. They all went up with flames, yeah.